Currently, some of the worst flooding that has ever happened in Central and Eastern Europe is happening, and surprise, surprise, I managed to be here on that weekend. Niederösterreich and Czechia are some of the worst hit regions, especially on the Austrian-Czech border. In addition, this is from Vienna, where one of the imperial-era flood canals has been completely filled. For some context, it normally looks like this, and you can take a nice little stroll down the sides. Meteorologists are predicting an additional 150 to 200 liters per square meter of rain over the next 2 days. And what is worse, snowstorms across the country are causing massive amounts of snow to be dumped in some of the higher regions, meaning when the temperatures start raising, that snow melt will compact the already existing problem of flash flooding across the region. Pupils and students, in addition to workers, are automatically excused, and the Chamber of Labor wants employees to know to not have any fear of any consequences under labor law if they arrive late or don't arrive at all because of the storm. Not only have the floodings resulted already in multiple deaths across the region, including a firefighter in Austria, it has also resulted in the Ottenstein Reservoir Dam overflowing, which continues to overflow and breach its bounds as I speak. And while the disaster is enough itself, you also have to remember Austria is in the middle of elections, where two of the main parties are headed up by people who deny climate change. One, Herbert Kickl outright, and the other one, the current Chancellor of Austria, Nehammer from the People's Party, has said that there is no scientific basis for the apocalyptic fantasies of a climate crisis. And in peak conservative, his sign-off yesterday was, take care of yourselves with the storm. And to make this more absurd, the Freedom Party of Austria has Harold Wilimski, one of their MEPs, at a climate change denial conference in Chicago right now with Nigel Farage for the Heartland Institute, an organization that spends millions trying to create the idea that climate change is completely a myth. Characters like Udo Landbauer, who is pretending that he suddenly has forgotten that he constantly denies climate change and is showing up for a photo op with the firemen in designer clothing. And what's the head of the FPÖ doing? Continuing to campaign like nothing is wrong, because of course, Herbert Kickl does not believe climate change exists. And perhaps the most peak absurd thing is them trying to kick off a culture war with Maximilian Krauss here, trying to start up a literal fight about statues. Yes, in the middle of flooding, while people's homes are being destroyed, while towns are being wrecked, while people are literally drowning, the FPÖ, the Freedom Party of Austria, the political party who is #1 in the polls and has been #1 for more than a year, is decided that the thing that Austrians really care about in this moment in time is complaining about a statue about Che Guevara. I'm not joking this. I wish I was making this up. And if you're curious what the opposition leader's doing, well, this is Andy Babla, head of the SPÖ, and he has been actually out there the entire time because he's the mayor of a town heavily affected by the floods. He's actually focusing on the welfare of Austrians and not trying to, well, campaign during a natural disaster. So let's recap. Of the three major parties, two deny climate change is real, and only one of them looks like he's actually taking the situation seriously. This is Perkersdorf, where Herbert Kickl, head of the FPÖ, currently lives, a town being wrecked by flooding. And what is Herbert doing again? Remember, campaigning. To end, let me just ask one question to Chancellor Karl Nehammer and leader of the FPÖ, Herbert Kickl. Is das ein Fantasy, Karl? Herbert Kickl? Or is this the real lives of Austrians, their homes and livelihoods, the infrastructure being torn away because of your denial?